When the IRS look at cost seg report, they are really asking, can we see the story behind these numbers? That's the heart of this lesson. On paper, a study looks like a wall of numbers, right? So you have the 5-year, the 7 years, 15-year buckets, or the 27.5 or 39-year property, percentages and allocations. But an IRS engineer, an internal reviewer, or a careful tax pro is quietly asking two questions. Where did these numbers come from? And if I follow your trail, will I end up at the same place? In this lesson on the engineering standards and documentation, we are going to build the trail the way the IRS itself described it in the Cost Segregation Audit Technique guide. If you are an investor, landlord, or tax pro, this is about making sure your study doesn't just do the math. It's hold up when somebody starts poking at how you got there. So here is the roadmap so you can keep your place as you're listening. First, we will hit what the IRS call the principal element of a quality study and pull out the ones that matter most for documentation. Second, we will dig into what appropriate documentation actually means, and we will split that into two buckets. One is for new construction and acquired or used properties. Third, we will look at how these documents show up inside real report, including how the appendices are structured in actual apartment study, like the park walk and reserve example in your material. Fourth, we will turn this into a concrete checklist you can hand to a cost seg provider or use to review a study before you rely on it. And finally, we will finish with a simple storage system so that years from now, you can still prove what you did in the big large year under the Big Beautiful Tax Bureau. Let's start with the how the IRS define a quality cost seg study. In the Audit Technique Guide, the service lay out 13 principal elements of a quality study. They'll talk about preparation by someone with real construction and tax experience, a detailed description of the methodology, use of appropriate documentation, interviews with the right people, a common naming system and a standard numbering system, a clear legal analysis, real engineering tax op and unit costs, organized asset list, reconciliation back to the total actual cost, an explanation of indirect cost, a clear list of Section 1245 properties, and attention to related issues like Section 263A, accounting method changes, and sampling. You don't need to memorize the whole list from the guide, but you do need to see where documentation fits. Use the appropriate documentation is not a throwaway line. It's one of the core pillars the IRS used to judge whether your study is credible. So let's zoom in right there. What does appropriate documentation look like in practice? So the guide breaks it into two common scenarios: new construction and acquired or used property. First, let's look at new construction. For new builds, a quality study explains how it's handled land and land development costs. That includes things like surveying, subdivision work, and temporary roads. Most of those costs belong to non-depreciable land. So a good study doesn't just bury them, it tells you how they were treated and why. Next, the guide also expects a site visit. It's not just a Google Street View. A real visit that helps the engineer understand the design and purpose of the project and how the property is actually used. Ideally, with before and after photos that show land and site prep activities like clearing, grubbing, grading, compaction, and then the finished paving and landscaping. Then you get to the construction documents. A quality study doesn't just glance at the summary invoice. It digs into the site plan, architectural plan, structural drawing, and MEP drawings. It looks at as-built or record drawings, blueprints, and bid documents and actually use them. If a component is treated as Section 1245 property, the engineer should be able to point to it on the as-built drawings. Project specifications are then analyzed to see how they line up with the plans and what they say about the finishes, fixtures, and specialty purpose system. And all of that have to tie back to the money. This is where contractor pay application comes in. The IRS specifically called out the standard AIA payments form, so G701, G702, 703, and 704. The strong study used the pay apps and subcontractor billing to see what would actually pay during construction, and then cross-preferences those numbers to the asset and the schedule. So for the new construction, the evidence stack looked like this. We know exactly what was built because we have the drawings. We know how it was intended to function because we have the specs. We know where the Section 1245 assets are because they are identified on the assets built. And we know what it all costs because we walk through the pay apps and reconcile them to the allocation in the report. That's what best available documentation means in the new build context. Now let's flip to the second scenario, which is acquired or used property. Here's the ATG, which is the audit technique guide, expects cost seg work to look and feel more like an appraisal. The study should be prepared by someone actually qualified to value used real property. It should allocate the purchase price between non-depreciable land, building, and personal property based on their value on the acquisition date, not just a rule of thumb percentage. A quality study documents how it got to the land value first using the classic highest and best use concept. What's used gives that land its highest value. Only after land is carved out does the study split the remaining purchase price between the building and the other assets. And because you don't have construction cost records, right, for an older property, a quality study has to confront physical deterioration and functional obsolescence directly. It doesn't pretend everything is brand new. It shows which documents and which evidence is used to adjust for age and for features that are outdated or no longer fully usable. Just like with new construction, the guide expects a site visit and photographic evidence for used property too. Again, the story is the same. We know what we bought, and we know how it's being used today, and we know how we value each bucket, and we can show the paper trail. So at this point in the lesson, you have seen how the IRS describes appropriate documentation at the highest level. Now I want to connect that with what you actually see when you flip through real reports. If you open one of the apartment studies in your materials, like the Parco apartment or reverse investors example, you will see the structure that lines up with the IRS checklist. Up front, there is a property summary like address, property type, land use like garden apartments, number of units, year bill and service date, and a breakdown between total purchase price and land basis and improvement basis. You will see a result pay where that improvement basis is split into 5, 7, 15 year and 27.5 or 39 year buckets, and the dollar amount and the percentage right there. Then in the back, the appendices start doing the heavy lifting. You will see component schedule that lists out items like appliance packages in the unit, like kitchen and bath cabinets, decorative lighting, specialty electrical circuits, sidewalks, asphalt, paving, stripping, side lighting, fencing, retaining walls, irrigation, and landscaping. So each line is tagged with a recovery period and a cost. In a strong study, the description tied back to the drawing and specs, and the total dollar reconciled to the actual cost or purchase price showing on the front summary. You would usually see a methodology narrative that explains the approach used, whether it was an engineering study with an actual cost record or engineering-based estimate or a hybrid. That narrative just mentioned which documents was reviewed, whether a site visit was performed, and how the engineering determined unit cost and quantity. If you're a tax pro or an advanced investor, your job when you read that appendix is to check if against the IRS quality elements. Can I tell who prepared this and what their background is? Do they clearly explain their methodology? Do they tell me which documents they need, they would use for the report? Can I see which property is being treated as Section 1245? And does that line up with what I know about the building? Do the totals in the schedule and actually reconcile back to the state improvement basis? If you can answer yes to the question, you are looking at a report that is much closer to what the audit technique guide envisions. If the answer are I don't know or it's not clear, that's your cue to slow down before you plug the number into the return for high-stake years. Now let's turn all of this into practical checklist you can actually use with client providers. When a client tell you, I had a cost seg firm do a study on this building, your next move should be, perfect. Here's what I need from them in order to use the study on your return. At a minimum, ask for a short methodology summary that describes the approach the documents reviewed and how classification and cost assignment were done. Ask for a list of source documents, plan specs, the plan set specs, contracts, change order, pay apps, and for used property, any valuation work or appraisal that were relied on. Ask for component detail schedule on a usable electronic format, so you're not retyping line items into your depreciation software. Ask for a reconciliation that shows how the cost in the study tie back to the purchase price or construction cost and to the basis of the tax return. Ask for any site photos or photographic appendices they prepare, and ask for a real human contact, usually an engineering or analysis, who can answer follow-up questions about classification, indirect costs, or legal positions. The requests line up almost one for one and the IRS quality elements, but in language and documentation you can actually work with. Finally, all of this had to live somewhere. You can find it later. Having great documentation is pointless if you can't put your hand on it when you need it. Here's a simple system that works whether you are a solo investor or running a firm. Create a dedicated folder for each property and year, and label something like property name, cost seg study 2026, for example. Inside that folder, break things into 3 buckets. First is sort document. You want to save the contract, plan set, spec, change order, pay application, closing statement, and any appraisal or valuation work. Second, the cost seg deliverable, so the final PDF, the Excel schedule, and any methodology memo or legal analysis. Third, your own supporting notes, email with the provider, your internal review notes, and any memos about how you handle indirect costs or related issue like 263A or method changes. Then in your tax work papers or depreciation schedule, you want to drop a simple note that says see cost seg study like property name 2026 folder for support. That way, when the IRS asks, can we see the story behind these numbers, you are not digging through all email or cloud folder hoping you can reconstruct it. You already did the hard work once. All you are doing is pulling out the folder. Now let's bring this home. So in this lesson, you have seen that the IRS is not just scoring your study on how big the deduction is. They are looking hard on how it was built. They have literally publish a checklist on what they consider a quality cost study and use of appropriate documentation sits right in the middle of that list. You now know what that phase means for new construction and for acquired property. And it looked like what it looked like inside real world report, and how to translate the audit technique guide standard into a concrete checklist and simple storage system. Your action step after this video is to pick up one study you already have, maybe on your biggest building or on a property you know you will rely on heavily under the big beautiful tax bill, and hold it up against what we just talked about. Do you see the drawing, specs, pay app, and side photo? Do the schedule reconcile back to real dollar? Can you tell who prepared and how they did the work? If the answer is yes, that study is an asset you can rely on. If not, you are just found exactly where to tighten things up before the next audit cycle. In the next advanced lesson, we're going to stay in this reviewer mindset and walk through how to critique a cost seg report in detail. What looks strong, what looks weak, and which red flag should make you pause before you let that big first year lot hit the return.